Hi and welcome to Dave's Classic Collectibles. In this episode we're going to look at the 1974 Australian Touring Car Championship winner, which is quite a good car considering it's the Peter Brock car. So it's the first Peter Brock car that we've done and one of three wins of the championship that Peter had, and this one being his first victory in 1974 in the HTT LH SLR 5000 L34. So it's a great car to start. This is a deconstructed look of what you get from the AutoArt 118 Australian Touring Car Championship winner for 1974. Your outer picture box, the foam polystyrene box, which is your lid, which obviously comes in then for the actually 118 model. Remembering these are screwed in, so they've got 4 screws at the base of these to stop the car from moving around and getting damaged. And your last thing you get is your certificate of authenticity. Now we'll talk about the history and significance of the car and also Peter Brock. Peter won 3 Australian Touring Car Championships, and the first one that he won was in 1974. So this is obviously a model of his first Australian Touring Car Championship win. And everyone knows that, you know, Peter won 9 Bathursts and how strong he was at Mount Panorama, but he was also very competitive in the Touring Car Championship. Fortunately, only won 3, which still a pretty good effort to win anything, but obviously to win 3 of these championships is good, but nothing compared to his 9 Bathurst wins. 1974, at the start of the Touring Car Championship, Peter was actually racing the LJ Torana, number 2, and obviously during the year, Holden then updated from the LJ to the new model, which was the LH. So he went from the 6-cylinder XU1 to this 5-litre V8 L34 Torana. Of the 3 championships that Peter won, 2 of them were actually in Toranas, one in LH and the other one in the LX A9X hatchback. Back then in 1974, there was only 7 rounds in the championship, 8 races, as round 5 had 2 races. Of the 8 races, 7 rounds, Peter actually won 5 of them. But starting the championship, as I said, in car number 2 in the LJ with the 202 XU1, and then finishing the championship and winning the championship in this car in the 1974 LH SLR Torana. These were the first of the V8 Toranas actually in production by Holden. Some of the LJs did get V8s, but it was more done by Harry Firth and different race teams and things like that. But this Torana, the L34, was actually the first one to get a V8, and they did come out with a 4.2 litre motor, as well as what they raced here was the 5 litre, so the 308 cubic inch. A closer look at now at the model, and Bianchi AutoArt have done a fantastic job with this car. It looks exactly like an LH should, the SLR L34. And the thing about these cars too, back then in 1974, they weren't allowed to do a lot of stuff to race them. They're pretty much, like the saying said, you know, win a race on Sunday and sell on Monday. Apart from exhaust modifications, roll cage and harness, that's really about it. The motors could only be blueprinted. So these things really were stock standard, what you could pretty much buy straight from the dealership. Obviously not like that anymore. But back to the actual model, they've done a great job. The car looks good. The sponsorship and everything's right. It looks great. The colour, the red and everything looks fantastic. I know with certain models you can look at them and go, oh yeah, they're fantastic, but geez, they didn't do the colour as good as they should have, or it's matched incorrectly. They've done a really good job on this. All the existing photos or pre-existing photos that I've seen of the actual car, they've really got it right, which is great, particularly being a model of Peter Brock's first Australian touring car. They've done a great job also. Just the engine bay and everything is detailed so well. Looks great. Inside the interior, the seats, the dash, the roll cage, the harness, it's all there. The door trims. It's really nice and presented very well. Inside the boot has the big fuel tank, which is what they used to do back in those days, lift the boot up and slot them in, or there'd be a slot at the back that they could just put it in to try and get the car back out on the track as quick as they possibly could. Right down to the wheels, obviously turning the steering wheel on these does turn the wheels left and right too, which is sort of a nice touch. And having everything open, the boot, the bonnet, all the doors as well is quite nice, because a lot of the later stuff now is starting just to be all sealed as people start to fight to keep their prices down. but this was released quite a long time ago, and there's still no rash and everything on the car. Yes, it's actually mine, so it has been looked after, out of moisture and all that sort of stuff. As you can see before from the photo of the white box, the picture box, I've had it in a cardboard sleeve. It does really reduce them from going yellow, which they do with age. It doesn't completely stop it, but definitely reduces it. And yeah, it's a great model. There's no rash or anything on this car, which we've talked about before on previous episodes. Certain models do it. This one doesn't. There's no sign of it at the moment, which is great. And it really is a great looking car. As I said, I think Bandy AutoArt have done a fantastic job with it. It looks right. It sits right. And all the decals and everything and the colour is fantastic. So it's really, really good to see it, and it's good to see a model that was released several years ago still to be in outstanding condition. Okay, well that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed our look at the AutoArt 118 1974 Australian Championship winner, Peter Brock. And as I said, this was the first of his 3 victories, 1974, 1978 and 1980. Back when these cars were released several years ago, they were around about 240 Australian dollars, and now on the second-hand market they bring around about the $500. If you enjoyed today's episode, please send us a like. Also, subscribe to the channel would be absolutely fantastic. And until next time, happy collecting.